which is really why I want to at least try the Swift Swim ban first, so that we don't just ban rain entirely without at least trying to nerf it. Because if we did that, we wouldn't really. Well, we'd be able to see Smogon's metagame, obviously, but we wouldn't know how our players and how our metagame would develop without it.
Well, how different can it actually be from Smogon's metagame?
Well, with the player base that we have, it could be surprisingly different.
What are you trying to say, bro?
I'm saying that people play different.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I still think Drizzle as a whole is overpowered, but I can sort of see where you're coming from, but I don't know. To me, it just makes more sense to ban the root of the problem, like we did in UU with the Vulpix ban a while ago.
But with that, I really feel that UU is kind of different because, I mean, you did have sand and you did have hail around, but sun was just so completely just completely above the other weathers. I mean, that they weren't really that usable, at least in that metagame, because I got suspect requirements for that round when Smogon had that when they banned sun, and I really found that all the other weathers couldn't really compare to it. But in OU right now, sand can definitely compare. At least it has a good matchup. Not the greatest matchup, obviously, but it can at least compete with rain, and sun can do the same.
Well, yeah, to an extent, I guess that's right. But, I mean, really, just play. Well, you play the Smogon metagame. You know how powerful rain is there. I guess if you don't agree with me that it's broken, you don't agree, but really. If people want to test out metagame without Swift Swim, they can really just play Smogons. And if they wanted to test a metagame without Kingdra or Politoed, we did have metagame a whole month without both of them a while ago. So they should know what that looks like. And
I didn't really understand that because we banned it for a whole month and it's just one sweeper.
Yeah, the Kingdra ban I did not understand, but the Politoed one, that one actually made sense.
Yeah.
Because it has such a huge impact on the metagame that, yeah. I mean, for me, that was possibly, definitely the best month when it comes to PO, OU. Just because of the variety of teams that could actually be used.
I think the problem people had during the Politoed ban was the large amount of sand teams, and almost everyone at the time was using Tyrannosaur or Hippowdon alongside Doriizu and Garchomp, who at the time was unbanned. And I think for that reason, I think that somehow affected the vote and made Politoed narrowly stay in OU.
Well, in my laddering experience, I kind of found that sand teams didn't increase it that much. What I saw a lot more of were weatherless teams. I even saw some dragon spam teams, which I thought weren't going to happen for a while in our metagame.
Or Drag 2 Mag.
Yep. It does everything. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that was possibly the best metagame I have played in Gen 5 so far. Besides, of course, Little Cup and UU, but, that's a different story.
Well, I actually found that my sand team that I came up with for the World Cup a while ago, I found that it actually worked worse in the metagame with Rain Ban than it did in the metagame with Rain, which I found very surprising.
That is kind of weird, but isn't that kind of indicative as to how sand won't be that overpowered without rain around?
Well, I guess so, but it's really because everyone was trying to stop sand, especially because it was just like a 1 month period, and then, hey, rain's gone. Well, let's focus and let's stop the main thing that's still left. So I think there wasn't enough time to really let it. The adjusting period hadn't really ended by the time Politoed got back, so people were still really focused on trying to stop sand, which I think that's one of the main reasons that team didn't work out quite as well as it had when rain was around, because you had to focus on stopping rain and sand if you were going to run weatherless. and stuff like that.
It was funny to see people getting stopped by Ludicolo because they weren't actually ready for it. Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
I got, they unbanned it from the ladder, and I just jumped on right away. And I raced one of my alts up to, 10th on the ladder because nobody knew it was unbanned yet.
Yep.
I remember soon after the Garchomp ban, and Politoed was unbanned, I think it was during his vote, I managed to get up to what was my peak at the time, which I think was 16th on the ladder. And I don't think that, well, I'm not the best battler, but I'm not the worst, if you get me. But for me to get as high as 16th at the time, when there was, I think it was 1803 or something like that was the limit, was number one at the peak. For me to get as high as 16th, that kind of spoke something to the Pokemon I was using, really.
And what were you using?
Well, I was using just a standard rain team, such as Politoed, Kingdra. At the time I was using Toxicroak as well, which I still think is a rather underrated Pokemon, really. And just things such as Thundurus as well.
So basically you were abusing broken shit.
Yes, I was.
Isn't that what everyone does?
I guess. Well, obviously not. Look at Blaziken and Deoxys.
True.
Well, yeah.
But definitely the test ban on Politoed, it really did have an effect on the metagame. And I do think that it was the sole reason Politoed remained. I think if the vote happened almost immediately after the suspect test ban was put in place, I reckon it would have been banned to Ubers.
Polito should be banned already, guys. Just saying.
Well, we'll see what happens when we do come round to look at Rain again, because we'd be fairly stupid not to at least have another look at Rain, which is why we've put up the Rain poll, just to see what everyone's opinion on Rain was like.
Yeah, can I talk about the rain poll for a second? What is up with people saying they want something banned and then putting their option 2 as ban nothing? That makes absolutely no sense to me.
And I have to agree as well. I think it's them thinking, do this, or we don't want anything to happen. And I just think that that's really a negative way of thinking towards the metagame. Surely if you want, for example, if you don't want Rain banned at all, yes, do nothing, best option. However, doing something like ban Politoed, and then ban Swift Swim plus Drizzle, then ban nothing. Surely you're thinking then that you want Rain to be nerfed in some way. And surely banning nothing goes completely against that.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's like my way or the highway. Yeah, that's not how it works, guys. Sorry to tell you.
It really does confuse me.
So yeah, does anybody else have anything to say about Rain? Or can we move on to our little hype corner, whatever the hell we're going to call it?
Let's move it on.
Alright, so who wants to go first?
I would love to go first.
Go ahead.
So, everyone knows that Dragonite's amazing in this gen because it's got this new ability, multi-scale, that when it's at full health, it'll only take, I believe it's half damage from any attack. So you can basically roost off anything. So, I was playing for the World Cup, and I was putting a Dragonite on my team, and it only really, for the team I had, it only needed Roost, Dragon Dance, and Dragon Claw. So I figured, hey, why don't I stick Substitute on there too? And lo and behold, it turned out absolutely amazing.